In September 2024, the Fourth Doctor faced the Dominators, a classic 60s villain from the Second Doctor's era. But it's not the first time the Fourth Doctor Adventures range has crossed paths with that particular era. In fact, there was a sequel to one story in particular, you may have heard of it, Tomb of the Cybermen, that featured the Fourth Doctor, Leela, and K9 as they returned to Telos. But first, they had to face the Fate of Krelos. This was a four-parter spread across two-part discs, which both written by Nicholas Briggs. And the first half featured the Fourth Doctor, Leela and K9, going up a mountain, doing a bit of fishing. Meanwhile, some strange stuff was going on inside the TARDIS. Oh, and there's a city in the background that mysteriously starts burning at one point. It's a bit of a different start to this, isn't it? The Fate of Krelos.
Yeah, Fate of Krelos abandons plot for character, and I think that's totally fine. Because I think the idea for this story was, can't the Doctor and Leela just have a nice time? They arrive on a place, let them just relax, and nothing happens. And that's essentially Fate of Krelos, which is fine.
I think some stuff does definitely happen.
Yeah.
It's not a complete departure from the usual Doctor Who format. But I think it certainly tries to be a little bit slower in its approach.
And this is one I've grown to appreciate. Because when I first listened to it, I was like, this is really, really dull. Because, you've got the tantalizing prospect of Tomb Cybermen, Jamie, next month. So this felt like, right, I've got to get through this to get to that good stuff. But coming back to it, years later, I'm like, you know what? This is actually a really nice, solid hour story, nice supporting characters. It sets up the building blocks for Return to Telos with, like you say, the world of Krelos.
Yeah. And I think also what's going on inside the TARDIS with K9 as well. There's a bit of a mystery there, which isn't too much of a mystery.
And Leela getting the hots for Jamie.
There's interesting bits of setup there. All the pieces come into place. I think it's one I do quite enjoy, Fate of Krelos.
Yeah, I like the simplicity of it, I think. That's one thing I really like about it.
Yeah, I think for what it's trying to do, I think it does it all very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this one came out in July 2015. The whole finale itself was announced, remember, August 2014. So, about a year before. This was as I was getting into Big Finish, as I was very much big on 60 Cybermen stories. I mean, still am, to be fair.
Nothing's changed.
But, no. But there was some hype behind it when that announcement came along. I was like, yes, this is very much give me this, because I was big on Fourth Doctor Adventures at that point. I'd been really enjoying Series 3. So the prospect of a Series 4 finale with Tomb Cybermen, Nick Briggs...
It weren't used that much, to be honest. I think this is one of the first times, I think the only other time they've been used possibly was the Bernie Summerfield one. I could be mistaken, but I think this was maybe the first Doctor Who story to feature them.
Yeah. And so I feel like there was a lot of hype there. Like when I first saw it, when I saw that artwork, they put out a little bit of artwork to promote it at the time. I thought, oh, is this a box set? And then realised, oh no, it's just the finale that they hadn't announced yet. And then it slowly started getting smaller and smaller, because by the time this came along, I realised, okay, Fate of Krelos doesn't actually feature the Cybermen. They come along in Return to Telos. And even then, they're not in it so much. No. You could tell Nick wrote it because he knew he was going to have to use the electronic larynx.
Yeah.
Which isn't the most comfortable thing. And fair enough. For the times you do get them, it's magical.
Oh, they're great within it. Like bursting through the walls of like a flaming, burning city. Like there's some strong imagery there.
Yeah.
And them sort of chasing the Doctor and Leela around the house. Really, you could sort of latch onto those little bits of cyber action, really.
For some reason, he used to chase him around the house. I just got a Scooby Doo image in my mind.
Well,
You know, like how
it
they
does
run
feel quite
across
Scooby
from
Doo, yeah,
screen left to screen right, being
yeah.
chased,
You
and
can.
then
It just felt a
fucking the
bit
other
like
way.
that in a bit in the story, which yeah,
For me, I kind of prefer the more methodical scenes where they're discussing things with the cyber planner.
hmm
That just feels more 60s to me. And I think that's the thing. If you're going into this expecting a very 60s story, you get vibes at times. Like, you
the
are,
music's there. I think the music's really
mm,
60s.
yeah, you are definitely returning to Telos. Like, the title does not lie. The story does dovetail its way back there. Jamie's presence in the story makes sense. I mean, the second Doctor's even in it. I think
Yeah,
it's been nearly 10 years now. I think we can
say
say that.
that.
Yeah, played by Fraser. So that's the first full cast appearance of the second Doctor, really.
Mm, I mean, maybe light at the end.
Oh, yeah, you know what? Scratch that. That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I feel like that dampened my mood. Not the second Doctor thing, but the, lack of Cybermen lack of authenticity to Tomb of the Cybermen in this.
It does feel like it's
It dampened my mood a
shoehorning
bit at the time. Yeah.
this into one of the episodes of Tomb, isn't it?
Hmm. But
And I
you
think that's
know
probably the
what?
weaker element of it, I feel.
Yeah, I still feel like that's probably the weaker side of it. But I
hmm
think having looked back on it now, I do appreciate it more than I did at the time.
Yeah, this
I
one
did
seems
really
to get
enjoy it.
a lot of hate, which I'm like, I kind of see it, but I had such a good time listening to it. I think the cyber plot with like this network and all the humans being linked to this network, it's so fresh, I feel, and such a modern idea.
Yeah, I think that's more the problem with it. It's trying to merge this very modern idea, which is very right for the Cybermen,
hmm
with these much more analog 60s style of Cybermen, tying it into that story. It doesn't quite feel like they mesh to me. But, yeah, I think that's where this story doesn't quite click.
I mean, if we were to give it a rating,
Probably say good seven or yeah, seven, I think.
I'd go at 8. I quite
Hey.
enjoyed this one.
I do think it builds to a nice ending.
Yes, the scene between the Doctor and Leela at the end is really magical.
Yeah, it's rather beautiful. And I think it works as a finale when you get to that scene.
Mm.
Uh, I think otherwise, with the timey-wimey nature of the plot, it wouldn't have quite felt right. But
Yeah.
then that scene comes along afterwards, the musical builds to it. It is actually, yeah, I found myself grinning from ear to ear as those final 4 or 5 minutes rolled by. Yeah, they are some rather wonderful moments. It's funny looking back at Series 4 of the Fourth Doctor Adventures, because Series 3 was very well thought out, it felt like. Every story had a place there, and there was very much an arc with the Doctor and Leela as exploring Leela's grief over her father, having the Doctor as this new father figure, and also that student teacher relationship they had going. All that was very much at the heart of the stories in Series 3. Whereas Series 4, it's all a bit more all over the place.
It's a bit of a limbo
Tone, yeah. Like
series.
even the covers feel like they, represent that in that they all feel rather different from each other. Whereas the Series 3 covers definitely had a bit more of a style running through them.
And I think as well, because we had the announcement that Romana was going to be in the next series.
Mm.
So I guess it was kind of like, right, let's get through this.
Which is sadly what the Leela series seemed to have become. They're
Mm.
right, let's get through them so we can get through get to some of the more interesting stuff, the new companions.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But no, looking back on this without that now, in mind. I do think those final scenes do work as a finale.
Yeah.
They have that weight to them. I'm happy we revisited it.
Yeah, I am too. I think that I want to spread a bit of love for it because I see this one gets a lot of slack, and I'm like, no, it's actually quite a good little story.
Yeah, I do think it's a shame that you have to spend the whole 18 quid for download if you want
Yeah,
just the four-parter.
that's the downside with it.
Yeah, guess you know. But I mean, when it goes on sale,
Worth
maybe
it.
check it out. Yeah. Thank you all for watching our review, and we shall see you next time.
Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.